Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today on this July 31st. Plenty to get to from Olympics to SimWorld U coverage, even some trade deadline on the diamond. I'm Marsh, joined this Wednesday morning by J.K. Candell. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
I'm great. Good morning, Marsh. It's good to let all of the people in the SimWorld Hoops community see our beautiful mugs again. They saw you yesterday, but they haven't seen me in 2 weeks. So
What they were
I'm just
deprived of. They were absolutely deprived.
I absolutely agree.
Factual. Anyway, deprived could be the accurate term that Coco Gauff is feeling right now after she was upset in her match in the Olympic Games yesterday on Tuesday. Plenty of controversy around it, though, as a shot that appeared to be long was called out by the line judge. She kind of let up on her return. The umpire returned and said, nope, that was in, and you lose that point. It ended up being the set point, which she would then fall down 4-2 in the second game. She would end up losing that match 6-2 in two straight sets to her opponent from Croatia, and I can't remember her name.
Donna Vekic.
Donna Vekic, thank you. Your take to her reaction and the entire situation as a whole, with the disclaimer, neither of us are tennis experts. We're not talking strategy here, just the reaction.
Marsh, what I see here is that Coco Gauff is a 20-year-old girl that has a competitive spirit. I think she was wrong because that ball was clearly in before she hit it. But I understand that hearing the line judge could have been a distraction, but doesn't matter. You're in the Olympics; things are going to happen. You got to just drown out the noise and play. So I don't really think that it was really worth all the aggravation. I understand the emotion because she had some issues in the French Open too. But you're here to win gold. This is the biggest stage of your life. You want to put on a show, but that's not the kind of show you want to put on.
So your argument is that she's a 20-year-old girl that needs to get her emotions in check. That's your argument here.
Yes, because that ball was clearly inbound.
JK! We're playing the age and the female card on this Wednesday morning. My God, the woke crowd will not be happy with that. Jason, you're wrong.
It's not a misogyny thing. It's purely if you want to be the best competitor, emotions on the other side. Got to leave your emotions.
Kind of sounds like it, Jason. You called out her age and her sex. Kind of sounds like the misogyny card. Look, 20-year-old girl aside, Jason, you played sports before?
Of course I have.
You play sports at a high level where, and I'm not saying only Olympics, just like, competitive sports, not pick up basketball with your friends?
I'm a very competitive water polo player.
Water polo, okay. So in the middle of a play, one ref rules, hey, stop. And so you say, okay, I'm stopping. I'm stopping as I'm trying to return this pass, make this shot. And then the other ref says, nope, it was good. Your shot sucked. We're going to count it anyway because my decision overrules your water polo shot. Is that fair?
I would be annoyed. I think has every right to be annoyed, but I think you got to keep your emotions in line. It's the Olympics.
I don't know what to tell you. I didn't touch a damn thing. Hey, we're back. Sorry, some muting. I don't know what's going on. But Jason, she's upset because she's a woman and she's 20 years old. That's the problem here. That's what you said. That's what you let off with, Jason. And here's the thing. If you're going to be told in the middle of a play that the play is dead, you're not going to, she lets up because of that. The simple solution here is to just replay the point. Why they did it, I don't know. Again, not a tennis expert. But I think to call it because she's a woman and she's 20 years old is the basis of argument.
You are twisting my words. You are twisting my words.
Literally, I asked you, are you saying because she's a woman and 20 years old?
I asked you that question.
I'm not twisting anything. I specifically asked you at the start of the
I would like to clarify my previous statements.
I
would like to clarify my previous statements. I think that emotions run high. And sometimes on the biggest stage, you got to leave your emotions out of it. She's 20 years old. Sometimes your emotions are going to slip through. I understand that better than anybody. But when you're playing in the Olympics, gotta have no distractions. Gotta just drown out the noise and play.
Hey, I'm not disagreeing with that point, but I'm just saying that's not what you said. And then when I asked to clarify, you said this. You doubled down and said because she's a woman and
It's
20 years
not. It's
old.
not because she's a 20-year-old woman. She is
That's,
a 20
I'm
year
just
old.
saying,
She's a
Jason.
20-year-old girl. She she's probably one of the youngest competitors in the Olympics.
Sure, that's true. I'm just I'm
Sometimes that could
I'm
be a
just
benefit.
saying
Sometimes that could be a detriment.
what you said was not that. But anyhow, I still disagree with you because if you're gonna overrule a call that has been most certainly impacted by a secondary ref. It'd be like if a ref said in the NFL, in the SWFL, said, hey, we're going to stop this play because I think there's a false start. QB gets sacked for a loss of 5 because he stops doing anything. And then the head ref comes in and says, no, there wasn't a false start, loss of 5 yards.
Quarterback would be livid.
There's a problem. There's a problem with
Then
that.
there's
And
an
that's the exact
officiating problem.
situation.
There's
There
an
was.
officiating problem, but you got to just roll the cards you're dealt.
Right. Be a man, be older, right, Jason? That's the argument. I'm
Yeah,
not
be
gonna.
mature,
I'm
and that's
not.
kind of what I'm saying here.
I would disagree that that the way she handled it was most certainly in the moment, but I'm not gonna discredit her for handling it in that
And it's not a
avenue.
gendered thing. It's not about being
It,
a woman or being 20.
look.
It's
I'm not
about
saying that. I'm just saying that was the start of your argument. Let's head to the Diamond, where plenty of activity went on with the SWLB trade deadline concluding yesterday. Jason, I don't really have a overall point, but I'm curious, where do you think the biggest move, the most impactful move, what stood out to you from the wheeling and dealing of baseball?
I'm gonna stay in my local city with the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees added that man right there, Jazz Chisholm. Has already in 3 games being a Yankee. He hit 4 home runs in 24 hours. Marsh. He has added such a nice balance of pop, and he's a 350 hitter with runners in scoring position. Jazz Chisholm, and you have him hitting behind Aaron Judge and Juan Soto now. It was built to be a recipe for disaster. He's playing at Yankee Stadium as a lefty hitter. We know how that goes. But I think that one of the most impactful moves of this deadline is a move that wasn't made. It was the Chicago White Sox not trading either Garrett Crochet or Luis Robert, either of their stars, for a massive haul. I guess Crochet wanted an extension that teams didn't want to give him, even though he's rightfully deserved it. At age 25, he's been one of the most dazzling young pitchers in baseball. There's been so many moving parts this deadline, a lot of moves. I've loved that so much has happened in the days leading up to the deadline, but I was very underwhelmed yesterday.
This is a continuation of the Miami Marlins just giving away baseball players. If you look around the league, the number of MVPs, home run leaders, star closers, talented starting pitching that they have built in their organization only to give away, it's just ridiculous at this point. They have tried to rebuild through the draft. They've effectively drafted and they've effectively developed players only to get them to, being reliable baseball players and then shipping them off to the highest bidder. It is a despicable use of an organization and their assets. It is a slap in the face to a fan base in South Florida here that is fervently in love with baseball. South Florida loves baseball, but those games are constantly empty arenas because the arena is not built for what it should be. It's a pretty ugly looking spot in just a space that's very difficult to get to. And then on top of that, the organization has done a terrible job of actually putting a product on the field that fan base down here actually wants to see.
I actually think they did a great job at the deadline,
No,
Marsh.
they didn't because they just give away their players. I understand where you're coming from, but that's not my point here. The point is that they have done an awful job of actually building an organization, and they make short-sighted moves time and time again because they just aren't in contention because of their own, shortcomings. They literally had a great general manager a year ago who happened to be a woman. I'm just not bringing that point up. Who they decide, nah, you're not good enough. You got us back to the playoffs, but you're not good enough to get this promotion. We're going to hire somebody else from outside of the organization to come in as your boss. You can move along. it's absolutely atrocious, and there's no argument in favor of the Miami Marlins and what they've done over the past pretty much 10 years in terms of, young Carlos Stanton, Christian Yelich, number of more of other notable baseball players have come through the Miami system only to be traded away. Let's head to SimWorld U, last piece of the show, as we take a look around. And I want to go to Arizona, where Corey Yams figures to be a focal point of that offense. As a freshman, he's part of a relatively small class, but he's going to be walking in and likely playing next to Juan Valentine, who had a fantastic season a year ago, and joining Khalil Erickson, who had a resurrective season for the Wildcats last season as well. So your take here on Arizona, JK, and specifically Corey's fit there.
I think Corey's going to have a great freshman season. We know what he's capable of from his SimWorld prep days, but now he's headed to, him and Zane Davis are headed to Arizona. I think they're both in store for incredible seasons. Theophilus Hilton was incredible in Hoops Stereo last year, and you mentioned Juan Valentine and Khalil Erickson. Having those guys alongside Corey Yams is going to be great for his development. We know what Tommy Lloyd has done in recent years with big men, and I would not be surprised if we saw another big leap from Corey Yams.
Well, there needs to be some type of opportunity for Corey Yams. I think that he has been deprived of chances over the last 2 seasons at SimWorld Prep to showcase his skill set as the sole guy. Looking at Almighty Soul, no pun intended there, who kind of took over for Corey Yams last season as the number 1 guy for H-Town. Warranted. I'm not discrediting that skill set, but I think Corey Yams' skill set does allow for him to be a lot more productive than he's been given the leash to be able to do over the last 2 seasons at both Showtime, where he was second fiddle to Bronny, and then last season in Houston. Eventually, we're going to get the answer, right? Is it going to be in Arizona? Because eventually, you've just got to prove that you're the number 1 guy unequivocally, and maybe Corey, on the flip side, hasn't managed to do that just yet. But I still think there's a ton of meat left on the bones for Corey Yams' development, and I look forward to seeing that in Arizona and what he can do in the still maintained Pac-12 of SimWorld deal. All right, that's our show. We're coming back tomorrow. More Olympics. There's plenty going on. Been locked into some exciting Quad Sculls women's final today. Fantastic finish between Great Britain and the Netherlands on the rowing water, but plenty more to get to tomorrow as well. So keep it locked there. We'll keep it locked here on SimWorld today. JK, thanks for joining us. Thank you all for tuning in on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.